This construction truck should be headed for the junkyard. 2 decades worth of abuse have left it completely destroyed inside. And if the smell doesn't knock you off your feet, then the seats will leave you wondering how on earth this happens. But even a mess this big won't stop me from turning this truck inside out and gutting the interior to get every little bit of dirt, cleaning every single square inch of this colossal disaster, so when I give this truck back to the new owner, it doesn't even look like the same vehicle. Alright guys, well the first step in what promises to be a very long detail today is to do a pre-wash rinse to get as much of the dirt off the exterior here as possible before I do any sort of contact wash, though clearly the outside of the truck wasn't all that dirty to begin with, so I can move through this step relatively quickly. Now on the tailgate here, there's unfortunately a significant amount of paint peeling away, so I'm trying very hard to not make this worse. And while some of you out there might be thinking, why would you bother detailing the exterior of this truck when it looks like this? Well, the new owner wanted it clean, and because I'm the type of guy who gives everything 110%, I'll have this truck looking spectacular today, despite the rust and peeling paint. Now as I pressure wash the door jambs here, you can get a little glimpse inside this truck, and this is definitely one of those vehicles I wish I could just pressure wash the interior and make quick work of all that mess. Sadly that can't happen though, which means I've likely got about 10 to 12 hours of work ahead of me there. Alright, well not surprisingly this truck is covered in iron contamination, which if you're not sure what that is, it's basically tiny little rust spots on the paint, so the iron remover is able to react with and dissolve those iron particles, turning purple while it does, and then it can simply be rinsed off after a couple of minutes. Okay, well after dumping the loose dirt and debris off the floor mats, I'll start with the rubber one here, which I'm hoping is going to clean up good, partly because soft rubber floor mats usually do, and also because the pressure washer is able to cut through almost any mess. Okay guys, it's time to move inside this disgusting truck, and it was at this moment that my respirator went on because this truck is the worst smelling vehicle I have ever had to detail. The smell of cigarette smoke filled the entire studio the moment I opened the door, and if I didn't have my respirator, there would be no chance I'd be working on this truck today. Now as I get started removing all the garbage from the truck, I was absolutely shocked to find a gun in here. Of course, at first glance it looked real, but as soon as I picked it up, I realized it was just a pellet gun. But even despite that, this is definitely right up at the top of the list of craziest things I've found in a vehicle before, right alongside vomit-covered floor mats, lacy underwear, needles, and who could forget, all those used and bloody tampons. Okay, as I continue to empty the truck of garbage, I just wanted to touch on how bad this truck smells again, because it was just so incredibly bad. It honestly smells worse than the ashtrays of 1,000 smokers, which is funny because I think it's clear after looking around the truck that the previous owner worked as a drywaller, though maybe he wasn't a very hardworking one because he must have spent a lot of time inside this truck smoking multiple packs a day for years to make it smell this bad. Alright, as I vacuum up the mess under the passenger seat here, you might be able to tell that I'm really not fighting to get this job done. The F-150 has pretty good quality carpet, and none of this debris is really embedded in the fibers, so I'm able to get this carpet looking really good in just a few short minutes, though some of these stains are looking pretty set in. Hopefully my carpet cleaner will be able to remove them and leave this carpet looking new when I start extracting in a little bit. Moving over to the rear driver's side now, where there's a ton of dried up drywall mud, and while I don't have a ton of background on this vehicle or the owner, I do know that they worked for PCL, which is a large construction company that operates in Canada, the US, and Australia, typically doing larger projects around here like big apartment buildings where there would be huge amounts of drywall work. But after doing dozens of work vehicles over the years, the fact that this truck is in the shape it is doesn't surprise me all that much. Some people literally just use their vehicle for the utility of it and don't care a single bit about what it looks like inside. Starting on all the trim now, and with a vehicle like this, I couldn't possibly do a good job today without my detail brushes. The boar's hair one I'm using here has stiffer bristles that are able to dig out caked on dirt, or drywall dust in this case, from the crevices, which is going to make things a lot less messy when I steam clean everything later on. You can find both the boar's hair and ultra soft detail brushes over on my website at detailgeekautocare.com, where I'm also happy to announce we've recently launched a loyalty program, so you guys are now able to earn points on every purchase and redeem those points for free stuff. So be sure to check it out. The link is down in the description for you. Okay, well, it's time to get this seat cover off the passenger seat and see what sort of mess was deemed worthy of covering up. And I'll be honest, I really thought it was going to be super bad, but it turned out not to be any worse than any of the other seats, though it was covered in dust all over. Alright guys, it's time to put my carpet cleaner to the test once again as I get to work on the seats, though I'm not gonna lie, I have some doubts that it'll be able to remove absolutely everything as the back seats are horribly dirty, but I have done a couple of other drywallers trucks before, and I do feel pretty confident that I can get them looking at least 95% of the way to perfect. Now for the lid of this center console, there are unfortunately a couple of tiny and faint stains that just won't come out with the extractor, even after repeating the process again, but that doesn't mean I'm giving up on them yet. When I've got the steamer out in a little bit, I always come back to spots like this and try to remove them with steam. Now it's not always successful, but sometimes it is, so it is nice to have steam as a backup in situations like this. Okay, moving inside the truck to the back seats, which were easily the dirtiest of them all, and it's time for this week's members question, which comes from Shannon, and it's how much faster do carpets and seats dry with the Mighty compared to the Bissell? So as many of you know, I used to use a little Bissell unit to extract carpets and seats, and while it worked great, I decided to upgrade to a more commercial unit when I moved out to the studio here, mostly because it has a bigger head on it and allows me to extract quicker, which saves me time, though in terms of how fast things dry out, I honestly don't think there's a huge difference between the two. The Bissell was able to get things nearly as dry as the Mighty can, so it's more of a function of how much solution you're using on the carpets or seats that's going to dictate how long it takes to dry. Now, because I still see comments from people asking whether I clean the entire seat or just the bottom portion, because that's usually all I show in the videos, I decided to include this here since the seat back was actually pretty dirty. Of course the answer is yes, every inch of the seat is cleaned, But the reason I don't usually show the top portion of the seats is because they're usually not visually dirty. So you wouldn't really be able to see any change in the seat, and that would seem kind of boring to me to watch, so I typically will only film the dirtier areas of the vehicle for you guys. Alright, moving down to the carpets now, and because the stains in here are so bad, I'm spraying on a very liberal amount of carpet cleaner and making sure to really hit it well with the green drill brush, hopefully getting it all loosened up. Though after making the first few passes with the extractor, two things are clear. The water coming through is really nasty looking, and this stain is going to need a little extra effort. Though even if it doesn't come out completely, the carpet is still going to look almost perfect. Here's a quick look at what the truck used to look like, and boom, after vacuuming and extracting, it almost looks new again. However, what had to come out of the carpets and seats in order to make that happen is absolutely disgusting. Well, now that I've successfully cleaned the upholstery in the truck, it's time to turn my attention to the plastics, which are equally as bad. And the moment that I sprayed on my all-purpose cleaner, the tar from all the smoking done inside this truck started to drip down the door panel, which is just incredibly gross. Again, if I didn't have my respirator, there is no way I would have taken this vehicle on, because I value my health too much. Back in my earlier days, I did a few smokers' vehicles without one and hated every minute of it. My nose was stuffed up for days after the detail, and I could still smell the vehicle. It was just not good. So yeah, I always wear a respirator now when I'm working on a smelly vehicle, but also when I steam the APC, as that's not something you should be breathing in. Now another area that I don't record cleaning very often is the plastic panel in between the doors, but also the seat belts. Now seat belts aren't likely to be something you need to clean very often over the life of the vehicle, though in a truck like this where there's tar and dirty hands touching them every day, they've gotten pretty dirty, so the best way to clean them is with some all-purpose cleaner and steam. Okay, now as I start working on the center console here, I wanted to ask you guys what you enjoy the most about these videos. Is it the pressure washing, vacuuming, extracting, steaming, the overall transformation? What keeps you guys coming back each week? Conversely, I'd also love to know if there's anything you dislike about these videos, anything you change or want to see more or less of. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments. I'm always striving to make the best videos that I can for you guys, so I just wanted to check in to get your current thoughts on things. Alright, well just before I put everything back inside the truck, I'm going to take the opportunity to dress and UV protect all the plastic trim in here, since it's a lot easier to do this with the seats out of the vehicle. But if you guys haven't tried 303's aerospace protectant before, then I definitely recommend you pick up a bottle. I've been using this stuff since I was 16 because in my opinion, it's simply the best interior protectant on the market, so if you're at all interested, the link is down in the description for you. Now as I finished getting all the glass in the truck cleaned here, with this being a smoker's vehicle, I knew that there would be tar buildup on the glass. After seeing everything that came off all the plastics in here, this is what came off of the two front windows. Gross. Okay, well the last step in this detail is to try to rid the truck of the last of the smoke smell with ozone, so I'll let that run inside the truck for a bit with the air recirculating inside. All right guys, well 14 hours is what it took to undo the colossal mess inside this F-150. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty impressed by how this thing turned out. It's looking really good. It's got a new lease on life, and the new owner, well, he's got a pretty sweet truck. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this one, make sure you smash the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to check out my new channel, The Yard Geek, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.